Are you scared? Yes, I'm scared. That could be Jason Voorhees out there. Do you get it? Because they're in a cabin by the lake, aka Camp Crystal Lake, where Jason Voorhees decided to hunt a whole bunch of camp counselors after his mother got decapitated at the end of the first movie. Sorry, spoilers. Movie has been out for about 43 fucking years now. He decided to put on a burlap sack and hunt even more camp counselors. And then he decided to go 3D by donning the iconic hockey mask to hunt even more camp counselors. And he wasn't the killer in one of them. And then he was resurrected by a lightning bolt for some reason. Eventually decided to take Manhattan, got sent to hell, and then got sent into space. But enough about Jason. Let's talk about more on the nose commentary in Sick. Boy, it certainly was. This is a Peacock original that comes to us in association with Blumhouse and Miramax Films. Thankfully, none of the wine scenes were involved in this. That's a good thing. So this comes to us from director John Hyams, who did Alone, which wasn't all that bad, and comes to us from two writers. Caitlin Crabb, with two B's for maximum crabness, I guess. This is her feature credit. And also Kevin Williamson, a name that may sound familiar, but if you don't quite remember, he did movies like this. This is what he did. Characters based on, and also Kevin Williamson being witty and understanding good writing and understanding what all the hip kids say. He did stuff like this. He also did I Know What You Did Last Summer, and movies such as The Faculty that I recently retro-reviewed. By recently, I think in the last year. Teaching Mrs. Tingle, which certainly was a movie. Wasteland, The Following, Cursed, from 2005 that was not any good, but wasn't his fault, nor was it Wes Craven's fault. Rest in peace, Wes Craven. Yes, Dawson's Creek, believe it or not, he had something to do with that. I don't want to wait for that series to be over. That's why I stopped watching when Dawson and Joey got together. The Following and The Vampire Diaries. Kevin Williamson has quite the catalog of, well-received stuff from TV to movies. So, okay, this is a pandemic-based slasher. It has Gideon Adlon, has Dylan Sprayberry, which is a great goddamn last name. Can't imagine he got made fun of in school at all. And Bethlehem Million. Man, that's a goddamn mouthful of a name. And also a few other people. There aren't a whole lot of people in this movie, considering it is taking place in April 2020 at the height of the pandemic. Well, actually just, as the pandemic was reaching its heights. And it's on the nose social commentary about how people would deal with the pandemic and the virus spreading all over the world and masking up and social distancing and all that. But some people still want to party. They want to live their lives and everything because they don't feel that it's going to affect them. But certain actions have consequences, maybe, kind of, sort of, because Parker and Miri, played by Gideon, and Bethlehem, God, I should have come up with a shorter name, decide they're going to go to a lake house and quarantine there. But they aren't alone. There is not much to this plot. There are a few characters. There's a stupid explanation for why the killings are happening. And I gotta be honest, the explanation that they came up with somehow was even dumber than the ones I came up with. I mean, I get it. I get what they were trying to go for. Just the problem is the movie is only 83 minutes and it barely goes to like 76 before the credits start. And there's a lengthy opening sequence of a guy just to set up the whole damn thing, and then boom, we go to these main characters. The problem is when you have a movie that's just centralized around a few, key characters, the only way that works is if they have character. If you barely know anything about them, or are barely given a reason to care about them, then you're not going to care whether they live or die, and that tends to be the case with Sick. Sick is a very, very disappointing movie that ends up not really having any good gore scenes, any good death scenes, and any of the little bubbling up of good ideas or anything kind of cool just immediately gets squashed down by lengthy stretched out scenes of people just walking around. This would have worked better as a short form concept. This really would have, had this been part of an anthology, maybe like 40 minutes, this actually would have been cool. I think this probably would have been just fine because there wasn't nearly enough goddamn material. Other than that, there really isn't anything to spoil in this because Parker and Miri just have to find, after various, setbacks and everything, they have to find a way to escape the clutches of, this person coming after them. They just have to find a way to get away, and they have to fly away. Yeah. Yes, it does. It does reference an era. It's hard to believe we're coming up on 3 years since the pandemic began. It really is hard to believe. You can keep, by the way, your own research and other stuff out of the comments, or you will be banned, because I give two shits what you believe. Deal with enough of that shit at my work. But let's just say this movie ends up being very, very disappointing, completely inept. People make stupid decisions. They aren't necessarily smart characters, and anytime they do something smart, they immediately do something to negate anything anything like where you're like, oh, they might actually know what they're doing. Oh, no, they don't know what they're doing. Oh, wait, they're going to do this, and oh, they go right back to being dumb. And that's the plot of Sick. Yay! I'm sorry, Dylan Sprayberry. I just can't get over that name, and I'm sorry. Like the guy has a chance to watch this, but that's such an unfortunate name. Yeah, that's basically, they do on the nose commentary like that opening line there. Oh, Jason Voorhees could be out there. Do you get it? And characters will just be introduced and just written out. And yeah, it's a small cast, and yeah, it's supposed to, I suppose, have a little bit of wit about it, but it really doesn't have any. I think Kevin Williamson basically was just forced to write this out within a weekend. This isn't his best effort. And even if it was a great effort from him, you can only do so much with a bare bones concept like this. You can have great writing, but when it's a bare bones concept like this, you're like, oh wow, ooh, so scandalous with your reveal. That's basically it. There really isn't a whole lot I need to say about Sick. I am going to get into spoilers. It's on Peacock if you want to check it out. It's kind of like they/them. Disappointing, brief, and annoying. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay, so the whole thing is Parker was at a Parker party as it were. She kissed a boy and she liked it. The taste of his cherry chapstick, that doesn't quite work the same as a Katy Perry song. And it turns out that this guy that she's kind of with, kind of not, DJ Dylan Sprayberry, he's a bit jealous. And these killers are coming after them. Why are they coming after them? Oh my god. It turns out that they killed this one guy earlier in the movie, and then are going after Parker and anybody associated with her because she is asymphonic or asymmetric or she basically has, I kid, I actually know what the goddamn term is. I'm just making fun of the movie, but the whole point is she ended up having COVID, but not realizing that she had it, and she ended up spraying it to him, and the guy that she kissed, ended up being the youngest son of this particular couple. It's not one killer, it's 3 killers. It's 2 masked guys, 1 older son, the father, and then the mother. The mother that gets introduced a little bit later on and has a chloroform-covered mask that she uses to drug Parker. And then they're going to torture her and everything because she infected their son. That's it. That's literally it. That's it. And then they end up killing the son at one point, or the older son, by bashing him in the head with a goddamn bucket. But then Mary, who got her leg broken after being thrown off the second story of this cabin, DJ, by the way, gets off pretty quickly and harpooned. It's like, we're whalers on the moon, we carry a harpoon. Mary somehow only suffers a broken leg and anal bleeding. What? Wow. If you're not a wrestling fan, you have no idea what I'm referencing. But she ends up making a splint for herself while Parker tries to get away to safety, actually to get to the neighbor's house across the lake. But that neighbor ends up getting killed because the killer somehow manages to get over there. You're wondering how the hell this is happening. Because one killer ended up getting dispatched. Okay, one killer got dispatched. And he's there in the kitchen, and then Mary eventually stabs him after he tries to rise back up because he just took a nap for about 3 years. But then it seems like the other killer is around. It seems like it's Pamela, who is the mother of Benji, the boy that got kissed. And she just somehow ends up in her car while another guy, while the father apparently has a scuba tank and is able to just be underwater and stab, Parker through this deck that she's floating away on and rowing away on. They eventually end up dispatching the dad by throwing him off the goddamn off the goddamn land after slashing his Achilles tendon, and then he lands on some deer antlers. And the mother has been thrown through a window, so everybody's safe. Oh no, they managed to get to this barn that's over there, and they're gonna get in this vehicle and get away. And then the mother shows up. So then they proceed to beat the shit out of the mother, overpower her, and then gas gets on the mother because Parker had this tank she was going to use to fill the vehicle, and then they set the mother on fire, and she goes down the road and then dies. And then the police show up because somehow Miri was able to get through to them by typing to 911. Yeah, sick is definitely sick in the head. Sick in the head of thinking that it was actually any good to make this goddamn movie. This isn't good. It's not really self-aware. It's not very good. It doesn't have really any good characters. There's not very crisp writing either. I'm sorry. This really sucks. It's another F. It's an F grade. Probably going to get a lot of hate for it. I don't really care. No good kills, no good nothing, no good dialogue exchanges. The explanation's dumb. Even though I get what they were going for, the explanation's dumb. And the fact that it is only 76 minutes, yet is stretched out with a lot of walking scenes when you could have kept it more tightly packed. Yeah, didn't really work all that good. Agree, disagree, what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ricklin. I'll see you soon.